Assumptions, the invisible rules running your life. If you watch this video with me all the way through, you'll learn how to spot these invisible rules that have been holding your life back quietly and how to rewrite them to unlock opportunities that you didn't even know were possible. Most people never see this because the single biggest factor shaping your decisions, your emotions, your relationships, even your confidence in your future, it's not your intelligence and it's not your personality. It's the assumptions that your mind makes every moment of your life. You can't feel them, you can't see them, but they direct everything. And here's the transformation you can walk away with today. If you learn how to question your assumptions, you unlock a completely different life than the one you're living right now, right? Sometimes we ask that, like, how can I change my life or live a better life? This is it. This is the video for you guys. Not because the world changes, but because the invisible rules of your mind, the assumptions, change. For example, we often talk about money or career. You assume that you're not ready to ask for a raise, so you stay in a job you hate, or you don't want to press anybody for something you need. You assume starting your own business might be too risky or it's too saturated, too much competition, so you never try. In relationships or dating, you might assume that she won't be interested if you're a guy out there watching this, so you might not make the first move. You might assume a friend will judge you, so you never share what matters most. I mean, it's in every category of your life, assumptions can be limiting you. Health and fitness. You can assume it's too much work to get in shape, so you skip the gym. Or you assume your body can't change, so you never push yourself. So let me ask you something right now. Have you ever stopped yourself from doing something you wanted to do because you just assumed you weren't ready? Or you assumed it wouldn't work? Or maybe you assumed that people would judge you, right? We often do that. It's crazy how many dreams never even get a chance to become reality, not because they were impossible, but because the assumptions arrived first and killed your idea before you even tried. So I want to show you something that most people never realize. Your assumptions are not passive. They are active forces. They're not harmless guesses. They're the invisible architecture that your mind builds around your life. And they define what is possible and what is impossible for you, long before you ever experience anything directly. You think about it. We're constantly making assumptions every minute of every hour of every waking day. So psychology today has a fascinating idea. It's that the brain doesn't wait for reality and then react, right? It predicts reality and then interprets everything through those predictions. I often refer back to the video we did about predictive coding, the predictive brain. That's episode 60. So in science, they might call these priors or internal models, but in everyday life, we call them assumptions. And that means we're not actually responding to the world. We're responding to our assumptions about the world. Imagine that. It means that your reality is filtered through guesses that your mind makes long before you even arrive in this moment. Think about how differently your life could look if some of those assumptions were wrong. And the truth is, a lot of your assumptions are wrong, or our assumptions. Most of our assumptions were formed a very long time ago. Sorry, it's very windy here. I mean, there's a storm coming, so just bear with me. Most of our assumptions were formed a very long time ago by childhood experiences, by culture, by fear, rejection, failure, even insecurity, or by the opinions of people you don't even talk to anymore. And without even noticing, your mind continues to interpret the present through the lens of the past, a past that no longer exists. So you might be living in 2025 right now, but your assumptions might still be operating from 2005. So this should wake something up inside of you right now, because it means that most of your emotional reactions, your fears, your relationship patterns, your expectations for the future, they might actually be outdated. They might be old predictions, old mental models, old assumptions. It's just running on autopilot. Come on, you know that. There's a lot that's running on autopilot. Your mind keeps recycling old information, thinking it's protecting you, when in reality, it's trapping you. Here's what people don't understand. Assumptions don't just shape how you see the world. They actually shape what you don't see. Let me think about that for a minute. They make you blind to opportunities that you're actually capable of. They make you overlook people who might care about you. They make you walk past possibilities that could transform your life. I have a video that's similar to this about predictive coding and the way the brain works, about missing opportunities. Look for that video. So you don't even notice, because assumptions are silent. They don't speak, they just filter. If you're talking about lens, people talk about this is it. The assumptions just filter quietly. And most people assume that their confidence reflects what they're capable of. Think about that. But confidence usually reflects your assumptions about what's likely to happen. Replay this part. If you assume you're going to fail, why would your brain give you confidence? If you assume people won't find you interesting, why would your brain give you charisma? So confidence is not a measurement of your skill. I mean, if you've been to a club or a bar, you know that. It's a reflection of your assumptions. So change the assumptions and confidence follows. So let's look at relationships, for example. If you assume people eventually leave, you'll feel anxious even around someone who genuinely cares about you. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because your assumption is running your emotional system. So if you assume dating is dangerous, your mind will keep you distant. If you assume your partner is going to judge you, you'll start acting defensive before anything even happens. And then because you're defensive, the relationship becomes tense, and suddenly your assumption becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So this is the tragic part. Assumptions don't just filter your perception. They create the evidence that confirms them. You assume you won't succeed, so you don't fully try. You assume someone won't like you, so you don't open up. You assume you're not capable, so you never test yourself. And then you point to the lack of results as proof that your assumptions were right. Isn't that funny? But nothing ever had a chance to become real in those cases. The assumption made the decision before life had a chance to show you something new. So now here's the breakthrough. Your assumptions are not built into reality. They're built into your mind, which means that they're editable, they're changeable, and they're upgradable. You can challenge them, you can examine them, you can rewrite your assumptions and replace them. So you don't have to obey the assumptions that you have, right? You don't have to obey them. Question them and ask yourself, what am I assuming right now? And is that actually true, or is that an old prediction pretending to be reality? By the way, I remember from a very long time ago at UCLA Anderson, one of my professors told the class, assume nothing and question everything. And that stuck with me for a very long time. So part of my inspiration for today's talk with you. So this question can change your entire day. What assumption am I making about this situation? When you feel anxious, ask. When you feel unworthy, ask. When you avoid trying something you actually care about, ask yourself. And when you feel jealous, for example, ask. There's so many opportunities. When you're afraid to say something honest, ask your mind. Because behind every fear, there's an unexamined assumption about what's likely to happen. Think about that, behind every fear. The moment you challenge the assumption, a new possibility opens up. The world doesn't change, but the doorway does, the path does, and your future does, right? The assumptions inside you become the boundaries outside you. Think about that for a minute. Let me give you a challenge. For the next 7 days, let's do this together, guys. Every time you feel resistance, ask yourself, what assumption is creating this resistance? And don't just look for dramatic answers. Look for the small ones. They probably won't respond. It probably won't work. I probably don't have enough experience. People will probably think I'm weird. So these are the invisible prison bars that you've been living behind. They're not real. They're predictions. So when you stop accepting your assumptions as truth, you start living your own life for the first time, possibly. It's a life shaped by possibility, not fear. A life shaped by awareness, not autopilot. And a life shaped by choice, not unconscious prediction. So your assumptions are not facts, they're guesses. And if you don't examine them, those guesses become your life. Thanks for joining me on our talk today. I was so excited about this. Assumptions are a very big deal, and it's something I'm actively working with every single day. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment. I read all the comments. And if you found this talk useful, please share it with a friend. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.